Hi everyone, welcome back to Clues by Sam. Sorry I'm recording this a little later than usual. I took a bit of a rest day. Today it's Saturday, and because of that we have a hard one. And if you don't know what Clues by Sam is, it's a daily logic puzzle game where you have 20 people who may be criminals or innocents, and you gotta figure out who is what using the clues that each person gives you. You need to do no guessing, and if you want to play the game before watching the video, you can check the link in the description, but if you just want to follow along, I'm going to start right now. Let's go with Isaac, telling us that 2 of the 4 innocents neighboring Carol are above Zoe. Zoe is here. She has 4 people above her, but 2 of them neighbor Carol. So if 2 of the 4 innocents neighboring Carol have to be innocent and above Zoe, both of these people are innocents. And now we know that either Betty or John are Carol's 4th innocent neighbor. So now Eli tells us that only one of the 5 innocents neighboring Saleo is in column D. Saleo is here, and he has 3 people in column D neighboring him, but only one of them are innocents. Or is an innocent, I guess. What does that tell us? And he also has 5 innocents neighboring him. So only one of these other people is a criminal, because there has to be 4 innocents here. But that clue doesn't give us enough information, so let's look at case. Exactly 1 innocent above Zoe is neighboring Saleo. Okay, so the innocent who's neighboring Saleo and in column D is either Tyler or Olive, but we know for sure that Zoe is a criminal. And now Zoe tells us that an odd number of innocents on the edges neighbor Saleo. So what that tells us is that since among these people there's only 1 criminal, if that criminal were to be either Wally or Zaya, let's say it's Zaya, then Saleo would have 2 innocents on the edges neighboring him, and that would be an even number, not an odd number. So both of these people have for sure to be innocent, right? And there's still 1 criminal here, but we don't know who. Now Wally tells us there are as many innocent cops as there are innocent painters. There's 2 cops here, Saleo and Tyler. What about painters? We have Eli, Anna, and Zoe. So there's 3 painters, 2 cops total. And 1 cop is already an innocent and 1 cop is already a criminal. Not cops, painters. 1 painter is already an innocent and 1 a criminal. So that tells us that at least 1 cop is a criminal and 1 cop is an innocent. Let's not use the upper text, let's use the lower text for this situation. Zaya now tells us that Carol and Zoe have an equal number of criminal neighbors. Actually, let's go back to that clue. There are as many innocent cops as there are innocent painters. So if Anna is an innocent, then it may be that both cops are innocent. So that clue doesn't tell us anything. Let's ignore that for now then. Zaya tells us what? Carol and Zoe have an equal number of criminal neighbors. And we know that Carol has only 1 criminal neighbor. So Zoe, so I am right. There is gonna be 1. Oh my god. There is gonna be 1 criminal cop and 1 innocent cop. But what that also tells us is that there's 2 criminal painters, so Anna is for sure a criminal. Because of what I just said before. Now, Anna tells us that exactly 2 of Nick's 5 innocent neighbors also neighbor Zaya. Nick and Zaya share 4 neighbors total. Oh, they share 3 neighbors total, actually. Ronald, Slow, and Tyler. 2 of them are innocent. And Nick has 5 innocent neighbors. Oh, that's a lot of things to put together. Let's think about this. Nick has 2 innocent neighbors already. He has 5 total. He's gonna have a third one here who's either gonna be Olive or Tyler. And two of the people in row 4 who neighbor him are innocents. But only one of these people is innocent, either Salil or Tyler, so Ronald has to be an innocent. Because he also neighbors Zion. Now Nick has 4 innocent neighbors. Kay, Isaac, Ronald, and somebody else here. But the thing is that if Tyler is an innocent, both Olive and Salil are gonna be criminal. But if Tyler is a criminal, then both Salil and Olive are gonna be innocents, and that would make it so Nick. So I think that clue is telling us that Tyler couldn't be innocent. Because if Tyler is innocent, both Salil and Olive have to be, let's leave this here, criminal, right? Now Nick has 3 innocent neighbors plus Tyler, that's 4, but he has to have 5. Oh, that's okay. It could be Maria or John. And if it were the opposite scenario, if Tyler were a criminal, both Salil and Olive would be innocents. Now Nick has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 innocent neighbors. And in that case, Maria will be a criminal and John as well. But we don't know yet. It's just I'm being impatient. Let's look at Ronald's clue. Row 2 is the only run with only 1 criminal. How does that help us? It could be John or it could be Gabe. So I'm gonna have to do the tagging, right? I don't need Wally's clue anymore, I don't think. Or maybe I do, but I don't think I'm gonna come back to it. So let's try to do this. No, that doesn't make sense. Exactly 2 of the 4 instances neighboring Carol are above Zoe. We need a clue because it tells us that Carol has 4 instant neighbors. There are as many instant cops. Do we know that Gabe is for sure a criminal? Is that it? Because if we look at Tyler being an innocent, both Salil and Olive have to be criminals. Now Nick needs one more. Innocent neighbor, because he has 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. That would be. It could be John, but it could be Maria. We don't know. But if Tyler were to be a criminal, then both Salil and Olive would be innocent. And now Nick has all the innocent neighbors that he needs. So John will be a criminal. But the other scenario isn't excluding John from being innocent. He could be an innocent and Maria a criminal. So where do I look at? Carol and Zoe have an equal number of criminal neighbors. That's only 1, and that's sad. There's many innocent cops as there are innocent painters, yeah. these two clues say the same thing. Only one of the 5 instances neighboring Celeo is in column D. Oh, let's look at that then. If Celeo is an instant, both of these guys would be in a one or the other situation, Maria and Nick. If Celeo were a criminal, Tyler would be an innocent and Olive a criminal. And then both of these guys would have to be innocents. But we don't know anything about row 3. We know about row 2. I guess the clues are pointing to Maria being an innocent and Joan a criminal, but not exactly confirming that. Oh, in this case, Celeo has 4 innocent neighbors as well. So these are a one or the other, actually. What else do we know? Carol and Zoe have a unique number of criminal neighbors. That doesn't help me any more than it does, or than it already did. One innocent above Zoe's neighboring Celeo, but there's this clue, Eli's clue telling us that Celeo has 5 innocents neighboring him. So we have 3 here, and we're gonna have 1 more here and 1 more here. And Nick also has 5 innocent neighbors. And he has 3 here. He's gonna have 1 more here, that's 4. But the 5th one, he could have 2 here, that's what's confusing me. Let's try again with Tyler being a criminal and try to exclude that. If Tyler is a criminal still, has 4 innocent neighbors, he's gonna have 1 more here. And now Nick has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Nick would have to be an innocent and Maria a criminal, which works for Celeo. John would have to be a criminal as well. Right? So this is okay. What about because now Nick has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah. What about Tyler being an innocent, Celeo and Olive criminals? And now Nick has 4 innocent neighbors. 1, 2, 3, 4. Celeo has 4. And one of them, somebody else would have to be here. It would either have to be Nick or Maria. And for Nick, it doesn't matter Because it could be Maria. And then John is a criminal. But it could be that Maria is a criminal and John is an innocent, and then Nick is an innocent. Do we have to look at the roles having only one criminal? So this has been here for ages. Vera is a criminal and Phil is a criminal. Because each of these columns already has a criminal. Okay. Let's return these to their respective colors. Sorry about that. That's the joy of doing it live. Now, Vera tells us that Salil and Betty have an equal number of criminal neighbors. That's gonna help us because we know that Salil has 8 neighbors total, and he has 5 innocent neighbors, so that tells us that Salil has 3 criminal neighbors, so Betty has to have 3 criminal neighbors. She currently has Anna as a criminal neighbor, and she could have John. Or both Karen and Gabe. What we know for sure is that it couldn't be both John and Gabe. Because row 2 has only 1 criminal. So since Betty needs 2 more criminal neighbors... Oh. I'm gonna also mention that this would be more obvious that you could tag the lower part of the card if there were a little lighter triangle like there is on the top of the card. But anyway, either John or Gabe are gonna be an innocent and the other one a criminal, so Carol can only be the 3rd criminal neighbor that Betty has. And now Carol tells us that Betty and Wally have an equal number of criminal neighbors. And we just found out that Betty has 3 criminal neighbors, so Wally has to have 3 criminal neighbors. And Wally currently has 2, Phil and Vera, so Salil has to be a criminal. And we know because of Salil that Tyler has to be an innocent, and because of Tyler, Olive has to be a criminal. And nobody else. So Olive now tells us there's an odd number of criminals to the left of her. And we know there's gonna be 1 criminal and 1 innocent here, so Logan couldn't be a criminal, otherwise there would be 2 criminals to the left of her, and that's an even number, so Logan is an innocent. And now Logan tells us there's an odd number of innocents neighboring John. John so far has 3 innocent neighbors, Eli, Kay, and Isaac. He's gonna have 1 more here, who's either gonna be Maria or Nick, so that's 4. 4 is not an even number, so Betty has to be an innocent. And because of Betty, John has to be a criminal. And because of John, Gabe has to be an innocent. And now, only these 2. How do we figure that out? Who am I forgetting about? Salil and Betty? Nope. Karen, Zoe? Nope. Only 1 of the 5 innocents neighboring Salil. Yeah, it doesn't really help us anymore. Odd number of innocents neighboring John. We know that already. Exactly 2 of Nick's 5 innocents. Don't need that anymore. Don't need this one because we know there's gonna be for sure another criminal here. Don't need this one. Hey, I have no clues left. Okay, let's look at all of them again. Exactly 2 of Nick's 5 innocent neighbors also neighbor Zaya. Those are Ronald and Tyler. Betty, did you know that penguins propose with pebbles? I did. That's really cute. Betty and Wally have an equal number of criminal neighbors. Well, yeah, and that's done. 5 innocents neighboring Salil is in column D. Yeah, that's done. I happen to know that bees can recognize human faces. Yeah, I know that as well. Exactly 2 of the 4 instances neighboring Carol are above Zoe. So is it about Carol? No, Carol's done. John's a bit too sure of himself there. Exactly 1 instant above Zoe is neighboring Salil. That's done. Odd number of instances neighboring John. That's done as well. Odd number of criminals to the left of Olive. Yeah. Row 2. Yeah, I know. I should have known I get caught. That's okay. I know we can do it. Thank you. Salil and Betty have an equal number of criminal neighbors. That's done as well. There are as many innocent cops as there are innocent painters. That's also done. Karen and Zoe have an equal number of criminal neighbors. That's also done. And odd number of innocents on the edges neighbor Salil. What? 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 Eh, what am I missing? Now I feel dumb. There's a number of criminals. Yeah. And odd number of innocents on the edges neighbor Salil. We've done that. Carol and Zoe. As many innocent cops as innocent painters. We've done that. Salil and Betty. Guys, I'm lost. I should have known get caught. Road 2 has only 1 criminal. Yeah, Road 3 is gonna have another criminal for sure. There's a number of criminals to the left of me. Yeah, there's no way of not having that. There's a number of incidents neighboring John. There's no way of not having that. Exactly 1 instant above Zoe. That's Tyler. 2 of the 4 instances neighboring Carol. That's Eli and Kay. 5 instances neighboring Salil is in column D. Yeah. 2 of next 5 instant neighbors also neighbor Zaya. That's Ronald and Tyler. Betty and Molly are done with their neighbors. Does it mean that they could be anything? Because I don't like that. I don't feel good about that. Carol and Zoe. Criminal neighbors. That's done. I'm gonna do the opposite. I'm gonna highlight the clues that I'm reading. An odd number of instances on the edges neighbor Salil. Yeah, that's Tyler, Zaya, and Molly. Zaya tells us that Carol and Zoe have an equal number of criminal neighbors. That's John for Carol and Salil for Zoe. There are as many innocent cops as there are innocent painters. There is only 1 innocent cop and 1 innocent painter. Neither Maria or Nick are cops or painters. Salil and Betty have an equal number of criminal neighbors. Yeah, Betty has 3 criminal neighbors and Salil is gonna have 3 criminal neighbors. Tyler says, I know you can do it. Salil says, I should have known I get caught. Ronald tells us row 2 is the only one with only 1 criminal, and that's Rose. And there's no way for row 3 to have less than 2 criminals. The only row left. Phil says, I knew this was a bad idea. Okay. Olive says there's an odd number of criminals to the left of her. There's no way of there not being an odd number of criminals because that's only 1. Logan says there's an odd number of innocents neighboring John. There's gonna be Betty, Isaac, Kay, and Eli, and someone else here. Both of these people neighbor John. Kay says exactly one innocent above Zoe is neighboring Saleo, that's Tyler. John says, I know everything. Isaac says exactly 2 of the 4 innocents neighboring Carol are above Zoe. That's Eli and Kay. Gabe says, I happen to know that bees can recognize human faces. That's a fact. Eli says only one of the 5 innocents neighboring Saleo is in column D. That's Tyler. Carol says Betty and Wally have an equal number of criminal neighbors. For Betty, that's Anna, Carol, and John. And for Wally, that's Phil, Vera, and Saleo. Betty says, did you know that penguins propose with pebbles? That's really cute. And Anna says that exactly 2 of Nick's 5 innocent neighbors also neighbor. That's Nick. Oh my god. The dread. Nick still needs one more innocent neighbor who has to be Maria. Oh, that took me 25 minutes. See? Maybe I partied a little too hard yesterday. But that is gonna be it for today and Close by Sam. I hope you enjoyed it and you didn't cringe too much with my blindness there. So thank you so much for watching, and I'll be back tomorrow with more Clues by Sam. See you then.